Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in to Biblio Files right here on AADL TV, the show where we take a few minutes each week to chat and answer one question all about books. My name is Amanda, and with me each week is Lucy and Christopher. And this week we have a special guest we are very excited about. We've got Phoebe along with us for the ride this week. And the question we are talking about is, what is a book that you just have to talk about? That's something that folks who work at the library or people who are avid readers always want to do, is say, read this book or don't read this book. So that's where we are going this week. Lucy, what do you got for us?
Okay, so the book that I picked after I've spent all morning like going through a number of books I could have picked, but I picked a book that I read in the middle of this year, probably in like May, called For Small Creatures Such as We, Rituals for Finding Meaning in Our Unlikely World. And this is a book by Sasha Sagan, who is the daughter of Carl Sagan and his wife, Anne Druyan, who was a producer. She produced like Carl Sagan's big show, Cosmos. And so Sasha Sagan wrote this book because she grew up with Carl Sagan as a father. So she grew up in a very, they were secular Jews, but their house was very much ruled by science. And, you know, in the sense that that was where their set of beliefs came from. Like, but she was also raised to be a deep thinker. And when she became a mother herself, she tried to think about how she was going to mark the rituals that her child would go through, and that she went through as she got married and became a mother. And what do you do with secularism and science to find a way to mark passages and milestones in your life? So, and she didn't feel like she should have any less of a ritual or a celebration around those things because she wasn't raised in a religious household. So she sort of merges science, which she says reveals the true grandeur beyond our wildest dreams, like the actual beauty in the world, with religion, which she said at its best can be filled with empathy and gratitude and awe. So she's trying to find a way to pair those two. And she does this. She writes a set of essays by going through sort of like life milestones, starting with birth and then teenage years and marriage. And she finds, when she's looking through different societies around the world, different cultures, that a lot of the rituals come up around the same things, around the same seasons, around the same birthdays. And it's just, it was a really great book. Each chapter is sort of like its own little essay, but she's such a great writer, and she leans heavily on like the many wonderful things that her father said about where he found truth in life. And it's just a great way of sort of honoring milestones, and it's really hopeful. And it was a really nice book to read in the middle of this year. Sorry, that was very long. So that is For Small Creatures Such as We by Sasha Sagan. Phoebe, what did you pick this week?
I chose probably one of my favorite books this year, Shit Actually by Lindy West, who wrote Shrill and The Witches Are Coming. This book, it's the little tagline thing is the definitive 100% objective guide to modern cinema. And it was like the perfect book to read when you're home with like this year with no one else. It's like watching movies with a friend. She like takes a whole bunch of super popular movies and recaps and reviews them in just like this super outrageous, ridiculous way. And it's just like, and I wanted to tell someone about it like while I was reading it. Like I wish I had had someone sitting there reading it with me just to like laugh at all these hilarious jokes that she has going on. There's like Forrest Gump in there. There's she starts off with The Fugitive and then says it's the only good movie. And then she rates every other movie she reviews 0 out of 10 Fugitive DVDs. And she rates The Fugitive 13 out of 10 Fugitive DVDs. It's so funny. And it was just like, my favorite was probably Face Off with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, which I haven't seen, and I don't think I want to see, just because her description of it was so funny. I was crying laughing. It was so much fun, and I just wanted to gush with people about this book. It was so good. So that's my pick. Christopher, what about you?
Before we get to me, Phoebe, did you really disagree with anything that she said?
No. Well, I think it's funny because like people, I suppose, could be like, but I love this movie so much, but it's just so funny that you can't take it seriously. Like any negative stuff she says about it, you're like, okay, yeah. So yeah, it was just like so lighthearted and goofy that it was
That's,
like I couldn't disagree with anything.
that's great. Well, the book I chose is a graphic novel. It's called Keep Our Secrets. And it's a beautiful story that is sometimes panned online because the mechanism of the storytelling doesn't work completely well. There are a lot of black areas in the book that you're supposed to be able to rub with your finger or thumb to reveal what's on the page. But instead, you need a hair dryer to do it. And I will turn my hair dryer up on high and see if we can get a page to show up. But that gimmick aside, the reason I love this book so much is it tells the story of two kids walking through a grown-up party. And they are talking to themselves and they're imagining this very creative world around them. And it's a beautiful ending. And the last page, it's the back of the book, it says, "Don't forget, okay?" And it's such a beautiful story of childhood, looking at this kind of twisted adult world. Let's see if we can get one page to show up here. This says, Miss Horvath is two people. And you can see there are two people inside this woman. So that is Keep Our Secrets by Jordan Crane. I forgot to say the author and illustrator. Amanda, what do you have for us today?
I just need a moment to absorb what just happened. I am so delighted. I got a tear in my eye. The book looks amazing. I love that you, with heat, small other images appeared. That is amazing, Christopher. I need to get that book immediately. I'm so excited.
It's lovely.
Yeah, that's so cool. So the book I chose for this week is a book that's a few years old. I chose a book called Girls Standing on Lawns by Myra Coleman and Daniel Handler, aka Lemony Snicket. I love this book. I found it at the library and I read it and I immediately had to buy it. It's a beautiful book. It's also in partnership or with the Museum of Modern Art in New York. And it is based on photographs from their collection, old photographs. And I'll show you a little snippet of the book. The book basically is featuring a photograph from the museum's collection and then the words to go with a kind of haiku style by Daniel Handler to match. And then it's interspersed with watercolor images by Myra. And it is just delightful. Girls standing on lawns, most mundane thing you can imagine is going outside your front lawn, whether you were in the 1910s or the 1990s or now. Let's go out front and take a picture. And so the book is just this collection of 40 photographs of women and young girls standing on lawns, black and white. I think there's a few in color, maybe not. Maybe they're all in black and white. But it's just girls standing on lawns, and the simple text matches the images so perfectly. And for me, I'm into photography and imagery, and like just pairing the words with the images just really, really, really spoke volumes to me. I think it's great. There are two other books with the same partnership between Coleman, Handler, and MoMA, and there's one's called Weather, and the other one is Hurry Up and Wait, and it's the same sort of thing. They're great books for gift giving or just like simple reads. I actually went on MoMA's website before this to look them up, and they have them, and they're on sale, and I may have just bought a couple more. But one quote I want to say is, "We are all standing for something, standing on this lawn." So the next time you ask somebody to go stand on the lawn to take a photograph, or the next time somebody asks you, think about it, what that photograph can look like in 30 years. So it's just a really cool look at photography over the years. It has photographs from the 1900s. A lot of them are 1900s through 1950s, but it's just really, really cool. And some of the photographs remind me of some of the photos of like my mom and my grandma's like standing on their front lawn. So there we are, girls standing on lawns. Any other final thoughts for this week? All right. Well, we are delighted to have Phoebe on us. I have to admit, this was a really, really fun episode. I kind of want to do this every week because we got so excited about the books we were talking about. Next week, we are going to change it up a little bit. We are going to the three of us, Christopher, Lucy, and I will all be reading the same book. We are going to all be reading All American Boys, which is by Jason Reynolds and Brendan Keeley, and it is the 2021 selection for the Washtenaw Read. So we are excited to read it. It'll be a little bit different, but we're excited to discuss one book together and do a little chat. And thank you at home for tuning in to AADL TV and another episode of Biblio Files. We are on YouTube. Show your library some extra love. Click like, click click subscribe. It'll surprise us. That'll be great. And that's it for this week for us. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.